Hey YouTubers, this is John of the Board family, B-O-A-R-D, and I want to talk to you for just a little bit about some top 10 things that we think are going to be helpful when we take our cross-country road trip here in late November. We're going to be going in the Boardsmobile. Why do I call it the Boardsmobile? Well, it's not a sportsmobile because I don't have that kind of money, but I've dreamed of having a sportsmobile, and as you know, they use a lot of the Econolines. When my daughters were very young, my oldest daughter was only going into first grade and my youngest daughter had not yet turned 2, but we took a 1999 Dodge van cross country. We went the southern route over to California, up to Washington, back across, and it was one of the best trips we ever took as a family. So we want to take this trip and have been planning to do so. We intended at first to go at the very beginning of August. So some of the issues that we now found we're going to have to deal with, we didn't know about. These top 10 things that we have that we think will be helpful on our trip are what we want to talk about here for just a little bit. Number 1 on the list is Raptor line the outside of the van. I had a family that wouldn't be caught dead in my old dark blue van with the pinstripes and all of the Mark III markings on it. And so when I decided to do this, I was quite afraid. It took a great deal of prep work and I kept putting it off. But finally put the final coat of Raptor lining on there, and we absolutely love it. They don't mind at all riding in it now, and they think it looks, the dad's van looks pretty cool now. So number 1 would be the Raptor lining for the protection when you go anywhere on any back roads or anything of that nature. The second thing that I wanted to cover that we did that we thought would be very helpful in our trip going cross country in the fall, and we believe this will be an improvement that will help a great deal. As a matter of fact, most people must have been thinking this would be a great idea, because when I went to try and find the swivel base, Sportsmobile told me they would be sold out and wouldn't get any in for quite some time. I eventually found a place in Arizona that had them. I'll try to tag the name of these places where I was able to get the things below, and I'll let you know all that information as we go along. But this particular seat, being able to swivel, is going to accomplish a couple of different things for it. One, it will be able to serve as a place for me to probably sleep. I'll get in here, and with this turned this way, I'll be able to lean this seat clear back and be able to just kind of stretch out, relax, and get some good rest. I'm excited about that. It also, though, serves as an opportunity for, if we have really cold weather, rainy weather, whatever it might be, to be able to have this seat facing the other that 3 can sit on, and we can actually kind of visit with one another, have a conversation, but we have plenty of room in between. So this ought to be something that's a great benefit as well. This swivel seat base that we purchased, and my friend Adam helped me put it together. Adam is also who allowed me out to his house. He has all the tools, the air compressors, everything that I needed to do the Raptor lining, and Adam was a huge help to me in this conversion. And so shout out to Adam and all of his help and his friendship on this journey as we're getting this rig ready to go cross country. Number 3 on the things that we thought would be helpful on our cross-country journey here late in November, going to Yellowstone. We're going to head to Grand Tetons, headed to Zion in Utah, just a bunch of places like that. And so looking at an opportunity to find a little bit more storage. We did a lot of different things with the van, but when you have a daughter that's 21, a daughter that's 25, that both like their clothes, we knew we were going to need some extra storage. My wife and I, we've already packed. We packed pretty light, but we thought we would need this extra storage area. And when I got the unit from Stowaway, I love this unit. Now, a lot of times if you're looking at these boxes, I would definitely recommend the Stowaway. You can see the number right there, the Pacific Recreational Products, Inc. This is a phenomenal box at a wonderful, wonderful price, because I looked at some of these before and I looked at the prices and I thought, yeah, there's no way in the world that I could ever do that. But I come across this, and this is exceptionally made. I was able to put it together, and even when I got it, we had a situation where the locking mechanism would not work. And so I had to go in and I had to replace the lock mechanism. So able to unlock that, I have something on the back that doesn't allow me to open it all the way until I show you the other feature about this. But if you can get a shot inside here, if you look at all of this, this locking mechanism didn't work. This was pretty intimidating to me, but they sent me a new lock for free. They sent me the instructions on how to do it. And again, if I can put this together, and then if I can do this with this lock, then anybody can. And it's a very, very sturdy unit, as you can see. Just absolutely love it. And so I encourage anybody who's looking for an option such as this to go with stowaway. Here's the other thing that's great about it. You get into something like this and you think, well, how are you going to get your doors open? Well, you can see that doesn't work very well. But the stowaway comes all the way out here, turns all the way, enabling me to open this particular door, and I have this attached right now, so I can't open it up all the way. But it's a great option. It also hides my propane tank, which you can see. I'll show you why we have this propane tank here in just a little bit. Now you can see that this is very, very well made, because as I shut it, you can see that little orange lever that's there. You shut this up, it does this, and then this cinches it down extremely tight, so you don't have to worry about it swinging away when you're in the middle of driving. That's number 3, the stowaway box. This little brace and bracket, again, I researched this. This holds my propane tank, but that would be number 4, that and the propane tank, and we'll explain what we need the propane tank for later. Here's my question for those who may be in the know. I'm going to ask some of my friends at church, like Adam and others, probably has some pretty good knowledge of this. But before, I was having trouble getting the propane to be able to, the hose in and out and all the things. I was going to have to take the tank off of the back of this bracket and move it around, is what I thought. But I found a way to feed it through to the back here. With this one little situation, there's a little bit of a groove here that kind of gives way, and I put the hose down here, and then I just kind of cinch the door. It doesn't seem to be pinching it too tightly, and I just wondered, it seems the heater seems to run fine like that. I just wondered on any thoughts that anyone may have regarding that situation. Obviously, I may have to put a little bit of something in here so air might not get through, but if you could help me out with that, that would be greatly appreciated. Number 5 on our list may not be something that's like fabulous or fantastic or anything to write home about. Since this van was a 1999, it was owned by my in-laws. They did a great deal for me. I love this van. Always shout out to Grandma and Papa for giving me this van. I've done that for years in other videos on other formats. But I needed to get and make certain on this trip that we had 2 new fire extinguishers. So I have one that was originally mounted here. I found a replacement that was exactly identical to the original, and then I also mounted another one up by the driver's seat so that we have accessibility for safety both front and back. We thought that would be something that would be important for our trip. This is number 6, and that is a power source. We have some plans to be on some BLM land and to do some boondocking, but we were needing a power source to make certain that we would be able to power all the things that we needed. What would we have? Laptops, phones, different things along those lines. We have a little portable refrigerator that we'll look at in just a few moments too. But just all the things that we would need to power. And of course, we didn't get our Julka, I think it's called, tub kit. They weren't able to ship it. It was supposed to ship October 25th. But I'm telling you what, this will be able to power that as well. And it's going to be a phenomenal thing for us to have on other trips. But this Jackery 1000 is a great unit. I've seen it reviewed by so many different people. We're so excited about having this, and not only because of some of the things that happened around the situation of trying to get this Jackery. Ended up not only with the Jackery 1000, but we also ended up with a Jackery. I think this one's the 160. Still has the various elements to it. The flashlight, which is on the big one as well. USB ports to be able to charge it. You have your one outlet there for your AC. Same thing, we have the 3 outlets here. The one that we'll probably use for the refrigerator, that is the 12 volt. Not only this one and this one, but also this will sit up front. This is just a little Jackery power unit that mainly powers phones and laptops. It can power iPads. We've already tested this out and used it a number of different times. Most recently using it to keep a phone charging while I was videoing, and we're still at 93%. So again, just another one of the opportunities. We're probably overpowered now, if there can be such a thing. But we felt that this power source, rather than a gasoline generator, which we looked into, these solar inverter generators are just going to be absolutely wonderful. Perhaps we'll get the solar panels to go with it at another time. But for now, as we're driving, we'll charge the unit as we drive, and then we'll utilize it for the power sources we need at night, thus saving the van battery, so that we don't have to worry about that. The number 7 thing that we thought would be helpful on our trip is actually something that's almost identical. They haven't changed it in close to 20 years now. The refrigerator unit that we took on our first cross-country trip many years ago, and it's this Coleman little refrigerator cooler. And this thing is just an amazing little trip. We have it kind of in here so that it won't go anywhere when we drive. But we have this all set up. You can kind of see the area there, keeps things cool, doesn't have a freezer. We'll stop by on various places, different stores, Walmarts and that nature. We buy a lot of lunch meat, fruit, other things that we can keep cool, and that way we can just kind of drive. Another thing Brennan will be able to do is to swivel the seat, be able to make sandwiches, you know, and all those type of things. The girls, of course, can get up and do that, and we'll have some drinks in there, just all kinds of different things that we can utilize that might be very beneficial on this trip. But again, we found this extremely helpful on our first trip, so we thought this was a must-have for this trip, and so I just wanted to share that with you. Again, it's this little Coleman, and again, we'll put the information on that as well down below. The 8th thing that we knew we needed was a water source. Now, the Julka hot tap that we bought that wasn't able to come in, we're bummed about that, but I'm telling you, that thing looks like a phenomenal unit. One of the things that you need is a water source. Now, if you're by a lake or a stream with that thing, it has a pump, you have water all the time. But you could also use water jugs. Well, we were trying to figure out, we like to drink a lot of water. The girls have the Hydro flasks that they just think are phenomenal. And so how would we keep water? We thought of just buying the trays of water like we often do, the water bottles. But then our friend Misty Dunn, shout out to Misty, her husband, I think they're going to get a van and van dwell with us one of these days. But she had talked about this little water cooler thing. Like, we used to have these in our house. You'd flip them upside down and have a unit to use. But she also mentioned to Brenna, my wife, about this little thing that you can put on top where you can just kind of pump some water and get a drink. So you just kind of do your own amount right there. Decide how much you want, shut it off. You have other for special amounts or certain amounts of water that it'll pump out, and then it'll stop. But right there, you've got your water with you. We'll have other cups, of course, but that's some good water. A great opportunity when we might want to take a shower or something like that, or clean up. We can always stick the pump of the Julka hot tap down in there, and we'll be able to have plenty of water, as that will make its own hot water for us at that time. So another great thing that's not going to take up a lot of space, but we think will be absolutely essential for our trip, is this particular little cooler, kind of like the Culligan Man, but only our own version. So that's number 8. Number 9 are these super cool insulated panels to put in the window. When we're going, as we said, in the middle of November, we needed something though, because we're going to Yellowstone, we're going to Zion, we've looked at temperatures in the evenings, especially when we're sleeping, and so we needed an insulating factor. My wife, she took a couple of these, put them back to back, and then covered them with this really cute material. Looks like kind of a camping theme, and so we're real excited about that. I might not have grabbed the right panel to put in the right window, but you get the gist of that and how that will help to keep it a little bit warmer in here. And then number 10 is one of the things that I searched and searched, tried to figure out how we could stay warm. In times past, I had a little buddy heater, a big buddy, all of these. And my problem with those was that you could just crank that thing up, man, it would knock the chill out of the air. But if you fell asleep, pretty soon you fell asleep and you were just burning up, soaking wet with sweat. So you'd shut it off, then you'd wake up freezing. And so I looked for options. We have down in our basement of our house a unit, a wall unit that was a radiant heater, propane fueled. And so I thought, surely there has to be something out there for van and to keep the van warm. And sure enough, with a little bit of research, I found the Olympian Wave 3 heater. And this thing is amazing. It has a radiant heat to it, so it's just going to produce constant heat for us. We have a high and a low setting, so we'll probably get it kicked off. You've got to prime it first, I guess you would call it. Then you have to kick it all the way up to high for 10 minutes, run it on high, and then kick it back to low after you run it on high. But this will be something that won't give us that fluctuation in temperature, should hopefully keep it at least fairly toasty in here while we try to endure those colder temperatures. Of course, we have other options with us. We'll have a -30 downtime sleeping bag. The girls have a double sleeping bag that's rated down to, I think, 10 degrees that we just bought. We have a lot of those things. We have insulation on the floor, and so we should be hopefully able to stay warm on this trip. All right, gang, so that's it for us, the Board family, and the top 10 things that we thought would be very helpful for us in our trip cross country out to Yellowstone, to Zion, to the Grand Canyon, to all these different places that we hope to visit at a time of year when it's a little bit colder. As we said, we originally intended to go the 1st of August, alleviating a lot of these problems. Of course, if it would have been then, we would have needed a cooling source rather than a heating source. So we now have our heating source. We're hoping that this trip will be a wonderful trip, and all of those top 10 things again, not only the Raptor lining on the van, the swivel seat, the box in the back, the bracket to hold the propane heater, the fire extinguishers for safety, the power source that we think is just going to be super, the jackeries that we have now, the refrigerator that we have, the water source that's going to hold a bunch of different things. Obviously, again, the hot tap didn't show up. It's supposed to be shipped October 25th. They now have a promised date of December 11th. We hope that works out. That's going to be a great unit. And then, of course, the wonderful things my wife made to keep holding in the heat. And then, of course, our heater here as well, the Wave 3 by Olympian. So we felt that's all that we really needed for this space. And we hope that that will be something that will be a great benefit to us as we travel as well. Any thoughts that you have, any things that we'll be adding as we go through the week? We're leaving next Sunday evening after church, after I preach. And we'll be adding different other storage options that Brenna has come up with. We'll try to do a video on that. And just look forward, though, to God blessing us with a great trip. And we're going to pray to Him and trust in Him as we take this old van cross country and hopefully make some additional wonderful memories for our family.